Right, hello everybody, welcome to the recently started up, got the engine started, waiting for the oil temperature to come up. Just about green, we're just before the hold at Dornbird, Hohenems airport right now, so this is in the westernmost state of Austria. Actually that's Switzerland over there, that's the Appenzell, and at the back there we've got the Sentisberg range. Out over here, the flat part there, that is the Lake Constance or Bodensee, if you're German speaking. And we're going to use a Navigraph Charts 8 for a VFR flight to Kempten, which is in Germany. So I'm just going to open up a window that means you can see. There we go, we can now see Navigraph Charts. So if we click here, I'm going to do moving map and follow mode on. Maybe I should just zoom in myself. There we go, so we're at Dornbird now. So Kempten is over here, KPT. We're going to fly actually out north over into German airspace and then go along that way rather than, or maybe through this mountain valley here. So this is mountain valley here, Agathala Moose, and then pop out at Kempten. So what we've got to do, VFR flight plan. But first things first, departure routing is very important, especially in airports like Hohenems. You can see how this routing here is basically avoiding all of the yellow areas. Now the yellow is built up, or people live here, and Austria is very against people flying planes over their houses. So we've got to follow these departure routings relatively well. So basically we're going to take off runway 05 straight out until Fengen. And basically where the village starts, we need to be turning left towards the motorway and then around and basically following the gaps in the villages until we leave. So we're going to leave by Oscar to go eastbound. And then we're probably going to then follow straight into this valley here. And I'm going to actually go along that way and let's see if there's any altitudes to watch out for. So we've got 3,000 feet here, 3274. This is all the Allgäu now, so this should actually be doable at my normal cruising level of about 10,000 feet, 6,000, 7,000 feet. Do we have any minimum safes? So there should be a grid. We need the grid to be on. Where's my grid? High points, thank you. Okay, the grid is not appearing, is it? Oh, that's the grid. Okay, so for this grid section, we have a minimum safe somewhere 13,800, 12,000. That's because of the mountains. So that's the minimum safe for the entire grid, including all of the terrain. So we're going to go out up here into the valley, out that valley, and then we're going to pick up the VOR 108.4. Departure-wise, left turn out just there, and yeah, we'll fly that now. So in reality, I would have this on a tablet and have that in the plane and be able to watch myself actually flying it, but I'm going to just turn it off now so you can actually see what's going on. So parking brakes released, a bit of gas, get us to the runway. And you'll take the full length of the runway as Dornbird is not very long, it's 680, 630 metres long. So I'm going to line myself up over here. Okay, if we do the run up there, we'll just blow that C. I'm going to spin the aircraft around so we're facing into those trees there, so when you do the run up it's not going to annoy anybody. Here we go. Okay, so the run up in the DA40 is ECU test. Oil temperature screen, so this will work. Going up to 40% load and 1800 RPM. The RPM should now cycle with the load. I'm just going to do that until basically it stops doing it. You just keep holding it until it doesn't do anything for a relatively significant time. Go 40%, 1800. And I don't think it's going to go again. So that's that done. Just put my co-pilot on, there we go. And off the parking brake. And I'm going to taxi into position and take off. Reuters uncontrolled, so there's no real thing you would actually do here. I'm going to actually just quickly start up a little VATSIM flight. Sierra 5 Delta Sierra Mike or something like that. S5DSM is a DA40. Flight plan, VFR, departure, LOIH. Arrival EDMK, the alternate could be EDMM. I think that's Memmingen. And the departure time is 11:15. Time en route, probably 35 minutes. Fuel available 3 hours and 30 normally, yeah. Cruise speed is 120 knots, and we're going to cruise at 7,500 feet. We go, routing is going to be Oscar, then arriving to Kempten directly to the VOR and doing a slight VOR procedure. Okay, let's enter the runway now. Landing light on, fuel pumps on. Left side's clear, right side's clear. XPDR to alt. We're nearly off the runway to the right, and we're gonna okay, so more or less lined up. Okay, so we're lined up now. Short field takeoff, so flaps takeoff is set. Power to full. Engine go back into the green. Okay, we're going to apply some back pressure on the stick. Release the brakes. Rudder as necessary. Windsock over there on the right. The nose will start coming up in a second. Okay, we'll slightly release the back pressure. Go over airborne, just going to stay in our ground effect for now. So max speed, I'm going to actually do it for quite a while. Flaps up. Pitch up, and we're going to go back down to the X speed with the pitch. And slowly let it creep back up to our Y speed. Bit of a military style departure. So now we're looking ahead, and we're basically watching out for this inhabited area here. So you can see we actually start that left turn already now. We're going to follow around these fields to the motorway. Motorway there. Okay, above safety altitude now, so I'm going to reduce to 85% load. Motorway in sight. Skirting around the edge there. Once the motorway's fully in sight, I'm just going to hold 85 knots, 90 knots with my pitch. I'm going to follow the motorway. Okay, there's the motorway's power cables as well. And the idea was we get to the motorway, before we get to Bregenz, we're going to go right into this valley here. Or that valley there, we don't know. Let me check which valley it is. So if I go onto my Navigraph, I can see there are 2 valleys. The second one doesn't actually make any difference to the first one. That's where we want to go. So we want to go on the one furthest away. There's a motorway junction just before it, which I can see on my Navigraph charts. So we'll look out for that motorway junction and basically use that as that point to basically say, from here, turn right into the valley. Good old 950 feet per minute. Lake Constance over here. We've got Switzerland across the river, really. Actually, we're almost in Switzerland, so that's the Swiss border there. This was the first valley, so if we went in there, there's actually no difference. It's actually a bit of a shortcut. But we're basically just going to go for this valley here and then out to Germany that way. So what does that look like on Navigraph? Well, there we go. Here we are flying along, following the motorway. And I'm going to cut across there into the valley when practicable. Going to go up to about 5,000 feet. So there's the valley. I can see that there, so I'm actually going to go already on visual. Minimises our time over inhabited areas as well, so less people complaining if it was real life. And then we're going to do direct to Kempten VOR, and that's going to be how we're going to find the airfield, basically. It's a bit of a cheat, but, you know, you've got a VOR next to an airfield, why not use it? So Kempten Kilo Papa Tango, scrolling out on Navigraph, I can find that, it's 108.4. So VOR DME, high altitude, ident of Kempten. 108.4, so going to nav, I'm going to put 108.4 in here. Bing, Kempten. What we can do is nav, should be an ident somewhere. So we should now actually hear it identifying. Anyway, so how do we get this to tell us where to go? Well, we click on course barrow, left click, right click, that basically snaps us to the course. So that's now our inbound radial to Kempten, so if I follow this radial, which I've just pulled up on my screen, we'll end up going directly to Kempten. Nice way to do that is to set the altitude, so I'm going to say 5,500 eastbound. AP on. Nav, which is a VOR, is going to track that VOR for us now, and the altitude is going to be intercepted with the pitch. That's slightly aggressive there, we don't need to go quite that far over. Clear of terrain left and right. So this was the valley I was talking about, coming in here and then basically going out towards the LOIH of Germany over that way. There we go, we're now intercepting that radial. I think that fuel pump could have gone off a while ago now. We'll let the speed come up. We're more or less clear of terrain. Looks like we might have a slight problem ahead there, so I'm just going to zoom out. See if there is actually anything on our course. Yes, you can see the very front of the foothills. Maybe a small issue. EDMK already there. So we're heading directly to Kilo Papa Tango and Kempten over there. Ah yes, so Navigraph, what else can you do for us now? Let's have a look. So there's Kempten. Let's have a look at Kempten. So we're going flying straight towards the VOR DME. I'm going to unload this flight here because it's wrong. New flight, why not? Kempten, it's VFR. Using standard charts, we're going to be cruising at 5,500 feet. The origin is LOIH, Dornbird, Hohenems, and the destination is EDMK, Kempten Durach. There we go, 4 runways available. There's no metadata available, I don't think, but if we click on Kempten actual airport, it's a grass strip, so all fields are grass. There's 2 taxiways there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Open charts, no charts information. Runways 7, 2, 5, 16 and 34. We'd prefer 16 and 34 because it's longer runway. Weather, we're just using EDJA, which is Memmingen, so I got Memmingen completely wrong. 220 at 9, so actually 25 would probably be the runway to go for there. If that wind is the same. Terminal area forecast is basically westerly wind, so maybe we'll be taking 25 for arrival, but we could also take 34 with a crosswind component. So we will basically come in to the field straight ahead. We'll be coming actually to the VOR here, so we'll be coming straight to the VOR. We'll do a outbound leg and then a procedure turn southbound into this leg here. And I will start to do a right-hand traffic pattern for runway 34. Departing 25, we have to go immediate left turn after departure to avoid these built-up areas here. And there's actually a house at the end of the runway who very much likes it if we don't fly over his house. So we'll also be using that. Yeah, so if we are going to end up using 25, we're going to go straight in, and then I would say actually come back round and join an overhead to left downwind. So overhead the field and then join the left downwind at midfield. And if we do number 3-4, I'm going to come from the VOR direct to downwind. So either way, we're going to go to the VOR. Going to reduce now to 75% power as we're at our cruising altitude and speed. You see we're at the end of the yellow, which is a good place to be, really. go any faster. 133 knots is reasonable. Nice thing about flying over Germany is there are lots of fields that would make potentially decent landing sites. Just got to watch out for power lines, really. Again, another thing that Navigraph basically tells us about. So if I go back to Navigraph, which I'm not on, follow mode on, I can actually see, for example, there is power lines here, here. These are roads, power lines, railways, rivers, villages, and high areas. So yeah, we just need to watch out as we come into this area here, as we're going to be going over 3,000 feet, and on the right is 475, 41. So we're high enough to be avoiding all of these mountains here. Looking out the left window, I'm basically just spotting landing sites. There's a field there, a bit of a field there. Just watch out for the houses. We don't want to be landing. You can see we can't judge, like that's a very steep field likely because it's going up a hill. It would be also good for a landing going upwards, but we would definitely right off the propeller, so maybe not. On the right hand side, there we go, we've got a farm up there. The Alps on the right, cruising along nicely. You got any air traffic controllers online? EBBU, that's Brussels. Echo Delta Yankee Yankee, that's Maastricht. Kilo Delta Kilo, that's Copenhagen. And then Euro Control West is online, but that's only flight level 245 in the Alpha airspace. And London is online, also not relevant. You see here we've got a motorway here. Now this is good for me because I know that Kempten is next to a motorway, and there's actually a motorway junction at Kempten. So it may well be worth following this motorway now. So if we follow this motorway, we will actually end up crossing underneath the final approach of runway 34. So I'm going to follow the motorway if the VOR becomes unnecessary, as it probably will be, because do we need a VOR? Because with VFR, we don't need it really. So I can see the city of Kempten's ahead there, that's the actual village itself. We've got a DME range. We do DME? No, I want it in DME mode, but it's not allowing it. That's fine, anyway. PDF options, DME, there we go. So we've got DME, we're 12 miles from Kempten. Do we want the display back up? No, we want it like that. Okay, so motorway on the left has a handrail feature. If all else fails, if all of our instruments go out, we can always follow that, and that will take us almost directly to the airport. Actually, that is the airport. There's the lake there, you see? And the airport is actually next to that lake, so I'd say it's that green field there is our field. And then this motorway then continues off towards Austria via Füssen, which is over there. It's actually quite nice to navigate around this area. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I've actually got a 7 knot direct tailwind now, which tells me, well, runway 25 is probably a good option. We'd have a 27, yeah, we'd have a 20 degree offset of the 7 knot wind. Can we take a 7 knot crosswind? Yeah, most likely. Where will I find out anything else about that? Is it in the AIP? There's no charts, unfortunately, on Navigraph for very small airports like this. So I will actually go into my SkyDemon account to see if there's anything in the AIP for Kempten Durach. I'm going to reduce the speed now. We're going to go down to 60% power, just so I've got a slightly slower cruising speed as we're coming in over the city. I'm going to go outbound Kempten, 1 minute leg, and then do a 1 minute turnaround to the 340. So it's a 180 degree radial. Sorry, no, 3416, so 160 radial. Just going to show you now my Sky Demon. Which is not allowing me to be filmed. Okay, so Sky Demon's saying no. Anyway, so Sky Demon is also not there, that's why. Hello Sky Demon, yes, I would like. Yes, log me in. So obviously in real life we would definitely be looking out the window, looking out for traffic, in contact with Langen information. But you know, we don't have Langen information in our game. So Sky Demon. Okay, so now you can see Sky Demon. So this is Sky Demon. This is a real life VFR app that we actually use for planning. So you can see here I planned my PPL exam to Bolzano recently. I don't want to be in southern Italy, that was a bit too fast. So let's come up to the corner here with German. Scrolling very quickly because it's lagging. Okay, here's Langenfear. So we came out of Dornbird and Hohenems here, departed via the traffic pattern to Oscar, came through Langen by Bregenz, Schaffau. We're now following this motorway here towards the DME. Kempten Durach there, click on it. We've got the information, so we've got any airspaces around it. Kempten info 124005. There's no restricted area activated and the thing is clear. Click on information. I'm going to go for Sky Demon plate we don't need, and we don't have a visual approach chart with DFS. Approach information. So yeah, again, there's actually nothing in the AIP for Kempten, so that's why there's nothing in the Navigraph display. So there we go, just coming over the city of Kempten now, really inbound to the VOR. The VOR is just next to this motorway junction here. It's actually in the field, you can probably see it there. That's the VOR, circular thing. On the right you can see the airfield there, so we've got runway 2507 and 3416. It's left traffic patterns for this runway and right traffic patterns for this runway. So basically both patterns happen south of the city, which makes sense really. Can I actually see the wind? No, but I can look at my airplane and just go, well, the wind is currently 8 knots directly from behind. So I'm going to use that and basically go with, right, we're probably going to make a overhead join for runway 25. So we'll depart towards the VOR now. It's the VOR. There's actually no need to make the procedure turn. I'm actually just going to go off autopilot now. Right turn to about 180 degrees. Allowed a bit of descent. You can see the VOR flipping off there. So head to the overhead part of the field. I'm going to reduce to 30% power. Now we're going to try and follow the procedure. So the overhead, it's not an overhead procedure join, but we'd prefer to go direct downwind. And actually we could have done that since we were coming from the east. We could have just gone straight in there and then back around and landed. We're going to come down to the circuit altitude, which is what? Well, Navigraph will have that too if I zoom in. 3,300 feet. So if I set my altitude there to 3,300. Not lower than that. Okay, I can see the airport below me there. Kempten traffic 05 Delta Sierra Mike, entering overhead for left downwind to runway 25. Don't need to say left downwind, but said it anyway. So there's overhead. Now we'll just turn to crosswind heading. 250 degrees minus 90 is 60 degrees, 160. Yeah. There's 160, and we'll be descending slowly down the whole time to 3,300. We're going to fly outbound now for a small while. Checking Navigraph charts, how far outbound do we need to go? Just before the city of Salzburg, or village of Salzburg, which is just ahead, and then we turn left before going over them, so we're going to do that now. So left turn. Still trying to descend slightly. And then where do we follow? Well, looks like we follow just right of the motorway until the curve back to the left. So there's a junction here, we're going to follow right of the motorway and then curve left onto the final approach path. Just watching out for the power cables below. So in real life, when I came in, we went downwind here over the lake and then landed on that runway there over the motorway. So on my base leg now, sorry, crosswind leg. Go, and then there's a triangle corner here. This little road is basically where we need to come over the top of. We're turning left now to cross base leg, even base leg now. Kempten traffic, Sierra 5 Delta Sierra Mike, base leg 25. And then we're going to do visual final turn. It's going to be somewhere around here. So there's a little village there. Can I see that on my thing? Not quite. So reduce the speed now. Landing light on, fuel pump on. There's the runway. 3,300, turning final now. Flaps 1. Flaps full. Counteract the ballooning, go idle, and we're going to just glide it in. The runway is to the right, you can see the two markers there, so the touchdown zone is the two white markers that we can actually see, and before that is basically considered like a displaced threshold for takeoff. 75 knots. Going to reduce down to 65 knots and we'll use that as our final approach speed. Okay, that's the runway. Glide path's okay. Okay, coming in nicely. Pitch up. There's the threshold. 5 degrees nose up. Keep it up. Higher, higher, higher. We keep the nose up for this. Just want to reduce any nose wheel. So still pulling back on the stick. Actually acts as a massive air brake. Now we can start braking. Still holding fully back. Vacates to the right. That's taxiway now. Bit more power needed than normal because it is a grass strip. I'm going to cross 3-4 now. So yeah, the house at the end there, that white house, is to be avoided when we depart. Cross 3-4, left and right is clear. Flaps up between the cones. Can reduce the power down slightly now. Basically taxiing around with the full back pressure on the stick at all times. There you go. It's all the way back. Now this part here is actually asphalt, and we'll turn left into the parking area and go and have a burger at the restaurant. Okay, parking brake set, avionics off, fuel pump off, landing light off, ACL stays on. Engine off. Engine off, strobes off, and electric off. Ta-da! Welcome to Kempten using the Navigraph. There you go. And Volanta's actually got our full track there, so I'll pop that up in a second. So yeah, I'd call that an overhead join. I'm just going to get Volanta up for you, which is, where are you? Okay, and open. So there's Volanta. So basically, departed Dornbird here, left turn before the city, as on the Strax, following the motorway, and then we cut across into this valley here. Picked up the VOR, so you can see this is where we picked up the VOR, as we're flying a very nice straight line. Just before the VOR, so if you look here, there's the actual VOR itself. We turned right over, headed to the overhead, overhead the threshold, entered the traffic pattern. Carried on just before Salzburg, left turn, and then a left turn over this corner of the motorway here, up towards Oberhof, and then left turn onto final approach, and then final approach and landing at 0.98 G, 119 feet per minute. It is a downward sloping runway, so that's why that would have been a slightly steeper descent. And you can see there the threshold marker. You've got the same here. This is the threshold, and this is displaced, etc. Yeah, so you can use Navigraph basically to fly really accurate VFR routings these days now in Flight Sim, which is awesome. It's what I use Skydemon for in real life.